So the next part of our country communities road trip brings us to Piketberg, to the Piketberg Museum, where you can see, if David moves the umbrella out there, you can see the Magen David. As usual, I'm Ed, your host of Ed Talks, and this is my colleague David King, who's chair of our country communities subcommittee, and we've come to the centenary tea of Piketberg. Do you want to cover me maybe?
Sorry, apologies.
I'm going to melt you in the weather.
Apologies.
So we're standing outside the Piketberg old synagogue, which was built in 1922 and then stopped being in use around about the late 1960s. It's now a museum. We're going to learn about the history of Piketberg and the Jewish community that used to live here and was part of this incredible town and the growth before they all vacated for the bigger cities, as is the norm with most of the communities. David, you've been involved in country communities for a long time on the board, like what, 10 years now on the board?
At least 10 years, correct.
Okay, and for you, what stands out about these visits on this cold, rainy day in Piketberg?
At the end of the day, it's about the history of the Jews and how they built together with the rest of the communities together wonderful towns and cities, and it's incredibly special to learn the history and the stories behind each and every community. I've just been now with one of the farmers here, and he was telling a story about Yaakov Katzev and the history of living together, and it's just wonderful to hear.
Fantastic. And we get to take a picture of you looking like Mary Poppins. Look at that, with the umbrella. That's even better. We told you that these Ed Talks are going to be some serious talk and some lightheartedness, but for now we're going to say cheers. We're going to film a little bit later. We're going to talk to Maria, who's the director of the Piketberg Museum, get a few insights. We're going to get a lot of pictures inside. They've still got the Arona Kodesh in immaculate condition. I'm going to change this around now. Give me 1 sec. So this is the old shul. You can see the Magen David there. Now this shul was recently painted in the last 2 years, and the Board of Deputies made a contribution to the restoration of the shul. You can just see, if I zoom in, you can see the Hebrew wording right there. I mean, that's amazing. Anyway, we're going to go inside the shul and take some more video. Okay, so I'm in the foyer of the old synagogue, and behind me is the entrance to the museum. And then going upstairs to the upstairs section. We're going to take a walk upstairs before we're going to the main part of the synagogue. There's just some beautiful artwork. Let me change this. There we go, some beautiful artwork on the wall of members from the community. Remember, this Piketberg Museum is all about Piketberg and the history, rich in farming, especially with wheat. But the fact that the synagogue is still in immaculate condition. I mean, the wooden floors, they've even kept the banisters and the railings. So this is the upstairs section, which is part of the museum.
Women's section.
Yeah, this is probably where the women would sit. And look at that. Look at that. Look at the ceiling and the architecture, kind of like what we saw in Uniondale. And there's the Ten Commandments. Above the Arona Kodesh, there's the Ner Tamid, and there is the actual Ark, and the Torot are inside there. This is the museum with the exhibition display. So this is a message board. Everyone that comes to visit this museum should just write their name and a date. And we have, and I've lost it, there we go, KPSA JBD 2025 with a little Magen David. And there's the Ner Tamid. If I zoom on it, this came from the Muffy King. You want to just tell us, where did it come from, Brooke?
Yeah, it came from the Muffy King community, very graciously given by Rabbi Moshe Silberhoff. They acknowledged him and thanked him for his contribution to the museum.
Yeah. Okay, so another part of the museum we finally in. We just had some fantastic speeches by Professor Emeritus from Stellenbosch, by the director of the museum, by the chairperson of the board. I even did a little speech in Afrikaans, thanks to Google Translate. And it's an incredible exhibition, and it just shows the exhibition is of Piketberg. So obviously you'll see everyone's here having tea and enjoying everything, and you'll see all around here is the history of Piketberg. You've got the koi at the back, you've got information about the schools, the Methodist church, and then here in the corner you've got the history of the synagogue. Don't want to knock over anything. You've got the history of the synagogue, built in 2022, and they said there were about 30 Jewish families, if I'm not mistaken, at its peak, and then in 1964 the synagogue basically ceased to be used as a synagogue. So they did a competition, a photography competition, various pictures of the shul, which is incredible. I mean, the photography work here is amazing. And they've even got a challah. I don't know how old the challah is and whether you'd want to eat it. It's most likely plastic, obviously. Look, would you try it? If I gave you 1,500 shekels, would you try this?
It is Shabbos today, so potentially.
I can tell you that I won't be trying that challah. But Book, what do you think of this?
Yeah, it's been a beautiful day.
Museum.
It's I think the speeches earlier and the recognition of the importance of the Jewish community in this town was evident, and I think many of the community here today have had such good praise of the Jewish community and how the community was able to build this town together with the other communities within it.
And how's my Afrikaans?
I won't comment on Afrikaans.
You'll see. You'll have to see the video. The Vicky come based Afrikaans.
But it is beautiful to see how they've left Kodesh and the Torahs in there, and some Tanakh. I saw Tanakh over there, and it really is fantastic.
I mean, the surnames here, you've got Brody and Katzif, Rab Shmuel, Yaakov, Ben Zion, if I correctly translate. It's just incredible history here.
And
the Jewish church. So, these are just some of the pictures. Ik ga proberen een beetje Afrikaans praten, met die helft van Google Translate. Ik heb eerst het al Afrikaans gedaan bij de school. En ik was geboren in Parijs, so ik heb Afrikaans in mijn bloed. En als mijn pa die video ziet, zal hij bij trots zijn. So, ik ga een beetje proberen. That's why I spent, Professor, for your presentation. I wasn't reading text messages from my wife, I was actually Google translating what smosa was. A few other terms were. The Cape South African Jewish Border Deputies, or die Kaapse Suid-Afrikaanse Joodse Raad van aangevaardigdes, beskermt die rechten van de Joodse gemeenschap. Ongeveer 13.000 Joodse mensen wonen in die West-Kaap. In Judaism, wanneer ons bid, leer ons wese oor ons geskiedenis oor duisende jare. If I speak English, I don't know the text. So please forgive me. Am I doing okay? Okay. Also, if I use the wrong word, please just tell me. I don't want to say it wrong. I've done speeches in other languages before where I miscommunicate the word, and then it means something completely different. In Judaism, wanneer ons iets niets ervaar, of vir die eerste keer 'n spesiale gebed sê, ons sê in Hebrew, en dit beteken, wie het ons lewe gegee, ons onderhou en ons in staat gestel om hierdie geleentheidskap te bereik. So in Hebrew I'll say that's Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'echianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh. So baie dankie vir die tyd, en hierdie museum is just incredible, and thank you for all the hard work you've done in restoring it to its former glory and preserving the history of the Jewish community. So thank you very much. So we are here, David and myself, at Piketberg, at the museum, which is the old synagogue, as we've been telling you for the last couple of hours, and we put on some tefillin. So shout out to all the Rabbonim, like Rabbi Levi Silman and Esha Darren, that always like us to put on tefillin everywhere we go. We put on tefillin, and we want to wish the community just a good Shabbos, and enjoy the weekend ahead. And go Boca.
Good Shabbos, guys.
Shabbos. We've just put on tefillin in the old shul. the old synagogue, and we're getting a lot of questions about this. So David's going to explain it. We don't need the Rabbonim in the community to hold him accountable, and he's going to try his best.
So in our Shema, which is our key prayer, we are instructed to, and it's the Shema is Hero Israel, God is ours, God is one. And in the prayer we are instructed to bind the tefillin to our arms and to our head, and it's basically a prayer of how we should conduct ourselves. We should teach our children the history, which is almost part of this, and it's a short prayer, and we bind the tefillin to us, and then we'll now do the Shema prayer in Hebrew, and basically as Daniel said earlier, the letters here, there's a shin, a daled, and a yud, and that together spells the word Shaddai, which is God's name. So you're binding God to
Sure, if he's not careful, he's going to actually get a job as a rabbi soon. So as part of my Country Communities Roadshow, I'm in Piketberg at the museum, and I'm with the director, Marie Ehrlitz, and we're here at the centenary high tea because the old synagogue has turned 100 this year. And Marie, just if you want to tell us a little bit briefly about the museum and the restoration and this incredible exhibition.
Oh, you know, how much time have I got?
Got about a minute and a half.
Oh, okay. No, but the museum was established in 83 already,
Oh, wow.
but then the synagogue wasn't part of the museum by then.
Yeah.
But then the municipality bought the synagogue from the Jewish community,
Yes.
and they made it part of the museum. But we had it restored in about 2011, and we had it painted recently. We painted it recently, but inside is the history of Piketberg, all the communities of Piketberg, including the Jewish people from the Jewish people that stayed in Piketberg.
And I think it's amazing because I know down there, I did a video earlier, you've got the Khoisan, you've got
We
the
have
schools,
everyone.
the African Methodists, you've got the Jewish community, which is fantastic.
The whole community of Piketberg.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is just absolutely, the synagogue itself is beautiful. The
It
way it's
is.
been restored is
Oh, I'm glad.
incredible. Does a real honor to, I think, the history of the synagogue, preserves the identity, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I
And
can't
we've-
take all the credit.
And
but
we've
it's-
now got on video that Marie's going to write a little article for us for the next edition of the Chronicle,
I
which,
will.
by the way, will appear in October only.
Okay, great.
But we
You'll
write
just
it
send
down,
it.
we submit it.
Oh,
yes.
that's wonderful.
So,
I'll
Marie,
send
thank
one.
you so much for hosting us.
Pleasure. Thank you for coming.
And
You're always welcome.
Exactly, you're always welcome. So, anyone, if you've got history, you've got, if you came from Piketberg, you've got family and friends that came here, I encourage you to come and see the museum and the exhibition. And the museum's always looking for generous donors to
Oh,
keep the
yes.
maintenance and restoration up. Okay, yeah.
Thank you very
There
much.
you go, and we'll share those details on our social media platforms. Thanks so
Right.
much.
Thank you very much.